Okay, so today we're going to do summary routes. First I'm going to do one with something that I made, and then we're going to do one with the packet traces that we did in class. So let's do this. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, so I used 192.168.10 and very, slash 24 in all of them. I did 10, 11, and 12. And so we have to summarize this route to go on the other router so that this router knows how to get to all of these networks with just one static IP route. So, first thing that you're going to do is that you know what your bits are. It's in the third octet. So 10, 11, and 12. I believe that's what I said. Let me check. Yeah, 10, 11, and 12. Okay. So this is the last set. So this is the one that you're going to have to compare to. And what you're going to do is that you come along here and you're like, well, this is too big to go into 10, so it's a 0. This is too big, this is too big, this is too big, but 8 is not too big, so it gets a 1, but 8 plus 4 are too big, so that's 0. But 8 plus 2, just right, and that's 0. Then you do the same thing with 11. You're going to have a very similar outcome because these are very close together. I'm just going to add a 1 here. Now, 12 is this one's a little different from the example we had done in class, just because it doesn't fit as perfectly. The other one was actually 20s and it was 16 and 4 and went all the way across. This one does not. For example, you put no, you don't actually. Sorry, my bad. I didn't put the 4. 8. You put the 8 plus the 4 because that's 12. Okay, right. So then you're going to look at all of these and you're going to go, well, where does it stop being the same? And that'll actually be right here. So you're going to use this 8 as your last one because anything after that doesn't work. So basically you're just adding all the same bits. And since only 8 is the same, you only add 8. That's it. So your actual end is gonna be like this. It's not even gonna be 10. It's literally gonna be like 8. So you do this. Okay. So then you gotta figure out your subnet. Well, your subnet is gotten by the bits, how many bits go into the subnet. So you actually add it together, like 126 plus 64 is 192. 192 plus 32 is 2. So that's how you go. And since it's an 8, we're gonna use the 248. And we're going to use it in the same octet as the 8. So it's 255, 255, 248, 0. That's your actual subnet. And if you wanted the slash for that, then you're going to do this. This is 24. This is 23. This is 22. So you go backwards the other way. And you start with this because this one's 24, okay? This one here would be 21. So it's a slash 21. So there you go. And so you can do that with anything. Like say if it was in this one, you'd actually start farther down, you see, and it would just work like that. That a little better. Let's see. If you started here and worked your way up, it would actually start, this one would be 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. And that would be a, 32 would be a 255, 255, 255, 255 subnet. So obviously we never use the 32. I'm sure you're familiar with the 30, which means that there's 4 addresses. And 2 of them, one goes to the network, and the other one is your broadcast. So that's why you only have 2 addresses whenever you use a /30. So you go the other way too, all the way. Oops. And you can keep going. 16, yada yada. You'll understand this is 8. This one would be 7. Okay, you get the idea. So in this case, because after we did all this, we came out to this and this. This would actually be what you use for the summary route, and you would put it on this router. And the reason you put it on this router is because it's this network that needs to go to this route. See, this here, this is the summary of all of these. So any one of these 3 that this one wants to go to, it only needs 1 route because we did a summary route. So how that looks, let's see, is router 1 is like this. As you can see, I already did it. So it's right here, all the way. My router interface, my next hop was 200.200.200.5. So that's this interface right here. And so, as you can see, it goes this way. And that's the only one that we needed. It doesn't have to have any other routes for these 3 networks, even though there's 3. See, this is the direct connect. This is its own network. And so then, I'll show you that that works. Go on here. Now run command. Well, it actually left it up, all my pings. So as you can see, it has successfully pinged all 3 networks with this route. So it doesn't have to be the same as whatever you start out with the first one is, and often it actually ends up not being the same, but it's whichever bit here is the last one that stays the same. And this will change every time you add a new number that you need to summarize. So every time you add one, you can't just use the same thing, you have to change it. And your subnet here changes, but that's the only place that your subnet will change. Your subnet will not change for any of these other interfaces. You'll still use the same subnet on these computers and the server and in the router, everything. The only place that this changes is in this one IP route. And how to add that route. I'm not going to use this one. This router. Right. Okay. So first I'm going to go to config, because you have to be in config to change the route. I'm going to do no IP route 192.168.8.0.255.255.255, oops, 248.0, and then the next hop, so it's 205. Okay, let's open that up a little. You can see this, right? Okay. No IP route. Okay, so you just did that, and then you go exit, show IP route. As you can see, it's gone. It removed it, gone from the table. You can't do anything anymore. Okay, so then just like that, you go config T, and it's the same command. You just take out the no. So that's how you add it. Okay. Now, if you wanted to put individual routes, it's the same thing here, except, let's see, you have to go down. You would actually, if you wanted to do 3 different ones, you can't summarize it or something. 255. This is 255. You would just do 10, because that's the first one. Enter. Then you would hit your up arrow on your keyboard so that it puts it back up there. And then you go back over here and you go 11. Enter. And then you go your up arrow and you go over here 12. Enter. And then exit. Show IP route. I'm not actually sure that it'll show it since I did the extra ones. But no, okay, they're all there. So yeah, you can see it put all of them there. This is the other one, and they're all static. Do not have a gateway of last resort, and that's it. That's what you do. And this is a next hop static. it doesn't have the interface on it, which means that it does a recursive lookup. What that means is that when the router is trying to figure out where to go, it has to look in here and find this route. But then it has to find out where this is. You see this 200.5. It needs to know where that is, so it has to actually look up again where that is. So that's called a recursive lookup. It has to look in the table twice. And to avoid that, instead, when you go to put your IP routes, you actually put the interface, which would be like this, the serial number for whatever this is, and that would prevent it from having more than one lookup. But for right now, we're just doing this. Okay, so now we're going to do this with the example we had in class. Okay, so I cleaned it out, and we're going to do it with this. So your network, which is this. I didn't mention this before, but you just use your network. It doesn't really matter about these individual numbers here. It's just your network that you're using. So there you go. So this is a 5, and that one's 6. I believe it was 6, and then this one back here is 7. And those are your 3 networks that we're using this time. So this one, 5. Yeah, okay, 4. 4 plus 1 is 5. So there you go. And just like before, it's going to be different. So obviously, and then this one is 1, 1, 1. Okay. So again, we have only one common bit here. The last bit is the 4. All these are the same too, so they kind of count, but even if they don't really. But this one's different, so you have to stop here. You can't go past the 4 anymore. So this time, okay, it's a /24. This is the /23, and this is the /22. And I actually do it every time like this because it's I probably could just remember or guess or whatever, but I'd rather check. So it's going to be a /22. Also, it's going to be 168.4.0. So it's not going to be the 5 again. It's going to be 4. That's going to be what you use because it's the 4. Now, remember in the example in class, it was actually 20 that they used because both the 16 and the 4 were all 1s. We don't add any of these because they're all 0s. But if, say, the 8 was all 1s, we would also add the 8 to the 4. It would be 12, etc., etc. Anything that matches completely would be used. Well, anything that matches completely up to a certain point. Like, if the 1 matched completely, we wouldn't use the 1 because there's 1 that doesn't match in between. It's got to be consecutive. Okay, so sorry for that. 255, 255. And this one is 252. Okay, so there's your new subnet. Okay, so that one will go again on this one. And I named my router something fun. So, there you go. This is Sunflower. Sunflower. Enable. Show IP routes. Okay, so just like before, here. This is what I used. It is a /22. It is like this. And it has the 200, 200, 200.9, as you can see. That's because this is an 8 and it's a /30, so I did 9 here on this side and 10 on this one. Well, no, actually 9 on this one and 10 on this one, so it goes to 9. And that's why, because you can only have 2. If the network is 8, it has to be 9 and 10. That has to be. You can only go the next 2. Consecutive, y'all. All right, so then I'm not going to do the whole thing over again because they all saw me do it that time, but I am going to show you that this pings. Ping 192, 168.5. I believe they had 10. Okay. There you go. And it takes a little bit, but it does it, so. You don't have to worry about like the first one timing out because sometimes it's just like it doesn't know where it's going, so it takes a little longer. But as long as the other ones do it, it's fine. And see, as you can see, with only one IP route in my table, I can ping all 3 servers on the other side. Okay, so I'm not going to go over the rest of what we did in class because I'm just doing summary routes in this one, but that's it. That's how you do it. This chart is a beautiful thing. I use it for everything, like for finding my subnets, for finding out how many subnets I need, you know, for finding the subnet mask to use in a network. Like say if you only have 1 server on something, like are you really going to use the /24? Why? That's way too many numbers for 1 server. See what I'm saying? So that's it. That's what I'm talking about.